What's up, Quarter Pounders? Welcome back to my channel. My name's Wave Potter, and today I'm talking about the Warning concert that I went to last week. I recorded this before, but it was a little clunky because I was a little too scripted, so I'm just going to talk from memory. Maybe it'll be a little more natural sounding. Anyway, we got there about 4:45, and our plan was to get there early enough to grab dinner and drinks before the meet and greet. So when we got there, we walked over to the doors to kind of see when the meet and greet was, because it hadn't been announced yet, but I figured it was soon because it had been around 5:30 in the previous cities. But walked up there, no one was sure when it started yet, but the crazy part was that as we were walking up, I hear Wave Potter. And I was like, I wasn't expecting anyone to recognize me at the concert, but the first people we ran into did, and I was like, okay, this is a weird experience. This is new. But as I'll talk about throughout this video, there's this crazy sense of community at the Warning concert. I mean, it felt like a lot of people knew each other, you know? It's not just because I'm making videos on YouTube. Like, there's a real sense of community at that concert because the Warning is so grassroots, fan-supported. Their Patreon is a social media platform in itself where all the people who help support the Warning and what they're doing can kind of mingle and get to know each other. So there were a lot of people that knew each other through that. That was really cool. But shout out to Steve and Mark, the first two people we met in line when we went to check when the meet and greet was. Anyway, they weren't sure, so we walked over to the Loon Cafe, I think it was called, and ordered some drinks. And then I looked at my clock, like as our drinks were showing up, and I'm like, oh crap, it's 5:21. The last meet and greet started at 5:30, I think. So I was like, okay, we better close out the tab. So we didn't have any food, any dinner before the concert. Thankfully, Rosie had packed some nuts in her purse, like a little bag of mixed nuts. And while she was packing them before we left our house, I actually teased her, made fun of her. I was like, you won't need those. We're going to get dinner. But she brought them anyway, very smartly, because we did end up needing them. And yeah, I was wrong. Anyway, I'm so sorry for that, Rosie. That's my biggest regret of the entire night, because we didn't have dinner until after the concert. But very sorry about that. Anyway, we closed out and went back to the line, which I'm glad we did, because the meet and greet started at 6. So we could have possibly missed it if we didn't wrap things up there. But that's when we met Aaron, who was super cool and even showed up to my last live stream. That was really awesome. So it was nice to meet you, Aaron. And yeah, we waited in line. We did the meet and greet. Once we got inside the building for the meet and greet, we could see the band. We could see Rudy and Luis, and I was just like, high heart rate, just super panic mode, like you do when you are about to meet someone that you are a huge fan of. And Rosie asked me in line, "What are you gonna say?" I was like, "I don't know. I should have thought of something, but it's like, what do you say to someone who has had, a profound musical impact on your life? Like, I feel like I already know everything there is to know. Like you'd think you'd want to ask them questions, but at the same time, it's like they answered the same questions probably all the time, and I could easily find those answers through a little research online, so I don't want to bug them with stuff they talk about all the time. And I don't want to talk about myself, so it's like, what do I even say? So I'm very curious in the comments what What did other people who met them say when they met them? Or was it kind of like me, what you're about to find out? But if you did say anything interesting, or if they say anything interesting, I'd love to hear about your meet and greet comments below. But yeah, we finally got to the front of the line, full panic mode. And as we're walking up, I think it was Rudy who was like, "Hey, we know you." And yeah, as you can imagine, I was completely shocked. You know, how do you even respond to that? I had no idea like that they were that much aware of me that they would recognize me. But he was like, Rudy and Luis were both saying like they appreciate my reaction videos, and they even said they enjoyed the recent Evolve cover that I put out with Daisy and Marlena. And I was just like in complete shock, as if I wasn't tongue-tied enough. After I heard that, I was like, what do I even say? So I think all I really said intelligent was thank you for making great rock music or something like that. And, sounded like a complete baboon. But anyway, I got to meet the girls, and they signed my hat, which is at home. Unfortunately, I did take a video of this before. Like I said, it was really clunky because I tried to script everything out so I wouldn't forget anything. But I think it's better just talking from memory anyway. So I'll probably overlay some clips from that where I'm showing the everything. But that was wild. We got a picture with them, and we went out, waited in line. In line, I got to meet some more awesome people. Xavier Xerxes came up to me, who I've reviewed some of his music before in the past, but he was super nice. He came up and introduced himself in person, so it was nice to meet you in person finally. There were other people. I met a lot of people in line and inside the show, so I can't remember all the names, but please, if you did come up to me and we met, please comment below, remind me of your name, and so I can connect the dots with the YouTube username and the person, and because I want to remember everyone I met, but I have a terrible memory, as most people who watch me know, so I'm sorry if I can't remember all the names. But yeah, we waited in line for another hour or so, and it was cold and windy, and Rosie, hadn't had dinner yet. We didn't exactly dress for the weather either. So I felt so bad for Rosie. She was just shivering, freezing in line with no food besides some nuts in her. So that didn't help. Anyway, the concert itself, once we got in, we grabbed some drinks, found a nice cozy spot on the corner of the stage next to Allie's side of the stage. And yeah, the opening band, Devora, they were really cool. They had a really interesting drum and guitar driven sound. There was no bass live. It was just drums, guitar, and vocals, and the vocalist occasionally played rhythm guitar, but they still had a huge sound. I would guess, I know there was a backing track for like vocals and stuff, so I think maybe there was some light bass on that too, just to buff things out a bit. But they had a really cool, interesting sound. Really liked the heavy guitars that they did. The guitarist played I think it was a semi-hollow Gretsch, but it had great tone. I think it had like Tron style pickups, so it was really cool. I'd highly recommend checking out the band Devora. Rosie and I were both big fans of what we heard. But then the warning started. That was pretty surreal when they came out on stage. I didn't realize, like, they have such a huge sound, such monstrous voices. I didn't realize how small of people they are, like, physically. It's amazing that such huge voices and sounds come out of them. It's just, what I'm saying. Hopefully that doesn't sound mean or anything, but it's pretty surreal when they start playing and you just hear the power that they produce. So let's see. I have a little outline here so I don't forget to talk about anything. One thing I really appreciated right from the get-go is Danny's charisma. She didn't need any time to warm up. She was just instantly on, making goofy faces, doing goofy dances. She would tell jokes in the middle of the songs that it just really lightened the atmosphere, made it really fun, and it just endears you to a band because she's such a BA singer. When she's behind the mic, she just sounds like a heavy, hardcore rocker, serious, you know? But then when she's not singing, she's kind of goofy, very, you know, funny and light. That's a cool contrast, I think, because it doesn't just leave you in awe with her talent, but also it's endearing because, you know, she's a cool person too. And Pow, man, she has a level of charisma behind the drums that, for me as a drummer, it's something I've never been able to do. Because when you're stuck behind the drums, you know, you're very limited with what you can do as far as stage presence. But somehow Pow is able to channel this energy and draw you to what she's doing, even when she's stuck behind the drums. And I'll talk about that a bit later when I talk about a specific song. And Allie, you know, great stage presence. Her tone was so spot on, so thick and beefy and punchy, like absolutely incredible tone. Even Rosie commented on how great the bass tone was because it just thumped you. The entire mix was great. Everything fell into its place in the mix. You know, that's why their sound is so clean. I think it's because there's only 3 instruments going and they're very well mixed and balanced while they're composing the music to each fit into their own slot. So it's got a great live sound as well. But special shout out to that bass tone. Also, we all know how like Alice Spectre, that's the right word, right? I think it's Spectre. Yeah, Spectre bass has the LED lights along the neck, and I never noticed this before, but Danny's PRS also has LEDs built into the neck that light up, and so when the lights go down, it's just a really cool aesthetic. It reminds me of Muse. So I think Chris also used Spectre basses, but you know, Muse always has cool little lighting effects on stage, even small little things like that. So that was a cool little touch. Okay, so there's some standout moments that really, just seeing it live gave me a whole new perspective on the songs. First, Martirio, the drums. I think it's in like the second verse or something. Pow does this really interesting drum pattern that I hadn't noticed how complex it was just listening to the album track, but then watching her play it live and seeing how all over the kit she was with it and how complex it was in its pattern gave me a whole new appreciation for that. I'll play a little clip of it, of the part I'm talking about here. Then Disciple. I think Disciple stands out to me in how well they composed it vocally, where Pow and Danny are trading off vocals, and it seems pretty balanced in like their share of the vocals, but it's just so seamless the way they transition between the two of them and the way the vocals work together to give that song the power and energy it has. Such a catchy song. Might be, in my opinion, one of their most epic songs that they've put out because it's just so powerful. And that music video too. I mean, really epic all around. Survive. Now this is a song I was talking about when I was talking about Pow's charisma behind the kit, because that's like her time to shine. She really takes the lead. At our show, she was on a drum riser, and Danny and Alice sat on the drum riser for the intro of Survive, so Pow could really, you know, have center stage. And I also have some footage of this that I'll overlay while I'm talking. But oh my gosh, she's almost climbing over the kit to grab your attention. It's so much rock and roll charisma in the intro of this song, so much attitude. you really feel what she's saying, the emotional power behind the words, of a relationship that, all of a sudden this person is acting like they've always been there when they weren't. It's a very emotionally powerful song. And so to see her perform that live and the amount of theatrical presence she puts into it and emotional power, that was awesome. It's just, that's another thing that you can't really capture on video. You have to be there in person to watch her do it live to really feel that power. Another song like that, When I'm Alone, which I just had heard for the first time a couple days before the concert, but Danny opens with just her and the guitar. It's so powerful. You can really feel her emotional connection to the lyrics, to the music while she's doing that. And then, through the entire song, it's a very powerful, emotional song. And that's, I keep mentioning those words because that's one of their strengths. They combine this power rock with great emotional, hard-hitting lyrics. They can really reach your heart with what they create and what they put out. But there was one particular moment that gave me goosebumps, just absolutely blew my mind, and it was during Choke. The chorus of Choke, it's got some of the most insane vocals. As soon as that song came out, I was like, how are they ever going to play this live? Like, who can sing like that live? It's one of the most vocally demanding choruses I can think of. I don't know when she gets a chance to breathe. I don't know how she has so much power and so much control of her notes, because that goes, insane the way the vocals walk up. And seeing her play that live and how well she just nailed the chorus, it felt surreal. I had goosebumps. It was like, that's when I realized that I was in the presence of one of the greatest rock singers alive today, because her level of control and talent is just mind-blowing to me now. And to see how far she's come over these past several years that they've been doing music, because you don't just start singing and become a rock star like that. She's put in a lot of work and effort into becoming what she is, and just the great composition behind Choke, to have that as a signature song now, because in my opinion, I think that will be one of her signature vocal songs. It's just such an amazing vocal performance. And so, yeah, which leads me to my point here. If you ever have the opportunity to see The Warning, take it, because there might not be many more opportunities to see them in a small, intimate venue. I feel so fortunate that I was able to see them play live at a small venue like this, up close, personal, like literally front row, because I think they have massive potential to play huge stadiums where you can barely ever get a chance to get up that close to the stage. I mean, they opened for the Foo Fighters, unfortunately, less than 2 weeks before Taylor passed, which has to be... that sounds like a lot to process for them. Like, you... Can you imagine? That's like the top goal you could think of. Opening for the Foo Fighters, literally one of the biggest rock bands in existence right now, and then for that to happen, and it would just be like a real jolt, wake up call, or I don't even know. I can't imagine having to process that after meeting them, literally being on top of the world, you would think, and then having a wake up call that we are all human, no matter how high we climb. It had to be a lot. Anyway, after the concert, Rosie saw Rudy go grab, I think it was Pow's set list, and she was like, trying to get his attention. And so he gave her the set list, which is really cool. Again, I have it at home, but I'll play the clip here. And then Rudy came up to me as he was walking to the backstage and asked me if I liked the show, which was, again, I was like, that was so kind of him to think of me and to ask if I enjoyed the show. Like, it just shows how much they care about their fans and the experience their fans have. You know, they're there to put on a great show, and you know, they really appreciate their fan support. I think that they would take the time to show fans individual attention and get their feedback. Like, that's what's going to help them continue to grow and improve and, you know, hit that next set of goals and benchmarks. Is that the right word? That, you know, that they have the potential for, because they do want to do their best. They want to improve. Rudy is a great manager, and it's awesome to see Luis there supervising everything, being involved in his daughter's lives. It's a really cool operation they got. They have so much talent, great songwriting. You know, they've really invested in, especially this Mayday EP, where like the songwriting and production quality is absolutely top notch, like the best you can get these days. So it's really cool to see where they're going. I'm really excited about that. And again, take any opportunity you can to see them. If they're coming to a city near you on this Mayday tour, be sure to grab tickets if they're still available, because I couldn't recommend it enough. It's an awesome experience. They're a really cool band. Also at the concert, I was able to get the Queen of the Murder Scene album from the merch table with their signatures, which is really cool. And if you don't have the physical copy yet, just want to show you why this is interesting. They have a pretty thick insert booklet here. And they've got all the lyrics. They also have some really cool graphics, pictures, notes, and a prologue. Gives some really interesting context on the actual story of the Queen of the Murder Scene. So I'm really excited to spend more time with that, diving deeper into this album, because I think it's a lot more layered and textured than, you know, I could have gotten from it on a first listen. And then, of course, the disc itself, which I just recently got a CD player, which embarrassingly I didn't have one until a couple weeks ago. But I'm happy to have another CD to listen to. And also got this sweet badge with their signatures on it. And a mask. It seems pretty high quality. So very cool stuff. I'm really excited about that. Oh, and of course I can't forget this. The hat with the logo. And it's got the lightning strike on the back. So that's really cool. Exciting memorabilia. Oh, Jared. I remember Jared. I'm trying to remember the names of the people I met. And like some of them I met while I was like walking. So my attention was like on trying to find Rosie. So I'm so sorry that I can't remember your names right now. But please, if you did meet me, comment below and remind me of your name, and so I can know your YouTube username and everything. But yeah, hopefully that wasn't too rambly and annoying, and I hope you enjoyed. But that's where I'm going to wrap this up. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Go support The Warning. Talk to you next time.